My name is Rico Wojtulewicz. I am Head of Policy and Market Insight at the National Federation of Builders. And someone has asked me to do a reaction video to the NPPF consultation that's just come out. It's like a consultation, it's more of a consultation to a consultation. I haven't actually seen all of it. I just kind of looked to see what it might contain. So yeah, I'm going to probably skip the bits about deleting paragraphs because that's going to require a bit of work. But yeah, let's start. Character and density. Should we focus on design codes and move towards supporting spatial visions in local plans and areas that provide greater opportunities for change, such as greater density? In particular, new development of large new communities. Hell yeah! Hell yeah! We've got something called community density as part of our manifesto, and basically it says, don't stop building small, build big, because really that's how you get sites to be viable. So you have houses, doctor surgeries, sports facilities, nurseries, all this stuff, but you need a dense site to make it viable. Otherwise it just can't be afforded. So that's pretty good. I'm happy about that. Wow, very surprised. Strengthening and reforming presumption in favour of sustainable development. Yeah, you should favour it. If it's sustainable and there's no local plan, deliver it. Should we restore the 5-year housing land supply? Yes, you should, because people think it's just about delivering housing. It is, but actually what it did is it ensured that more small and medium-sized companies could win work, because basically if you have to deliver on a target and you can't just allocate random big sites, you have to actually deliver ones that are robust and can actually be built out. Well, you have to look at those smaller ones because they're the ones that are more likely to deliver, especially if they're local companies. Yeah, so please reverse that. That's great. Restoring the 5% buffer. If you under-deliver, yeah, do that, please. That's great. Should it be a different figure? Yeah, go higher, go mad. Look, you need to make sure you deliver, and one way to do that is by telling councils that there's a bit of a threat if you don't. It's how we built all the homes in the 50s, 40s, and 30s. How we upped our housing numbers. That was removed. Maintaining effective cooperation and the move to strategic planning. Strategic planning, yay! Look, strategic planning is great because if every local authority does it by itself, you don't have a plan. You look at someone like Birmingham. It's the whole Midlands region got involved in the automotive section because they could, because the local plans supported it, and there was a regional strategy. Unless you do that kind of approach, you don't get the right transport, employment, jobs, skills, all those things. So yeah, that's great cooperation, fantastic. Should the tests of soundness be amended? Yeah, you need sound tests for strategic scale plans or proposals. Yeah, and do they need amending to be better? Yeah, I think so. They need to include stuff like employment and jobs and stuff going forward, and transport as well, because you need to plan these things in the future. And so is it sound means, is it going to serve communities in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, even 60, 70, 100 years time? The roads we have today, the roads we used 100 years ago in many cases. And rail, God, we built no rail. So yeah, do we need to change the standard methodology for assessing local housing need? Yes we do. And they want to change it to stuff based on local need and also affordability. So yeah, that's a very smart move. So yeah, that's going to be quite complicated to get into, but yeah, we need that. Deliver 370,000 homes. Yeah, do that, please. Look, targets don't get met, but if you're ambitious, then at least you get closer to doing that. I'm not going to do that because it requires me to do some calculations. And that's on affordable housing and how you calculate it. Brown belt, grey belt, and the green belt. So what is this grey belt? Before I actually find out, it is important to understand that the green belt isn't just a mass sprawl. There are loads of industrial sites in the green belt, but we don't define them very well because we don't know what they are. Actually, it would be very helpful if we did kind of know what it is that we are delivering and where. So if you've got, say, an industrial site, 10-minute walk from a community, and it used to be an old mining quarry or whatever, why don't you build on it? Because you're effectively creating a walkable community locally. So yeah, and that could be in places like national parks, unfortunately. Why let it go derelict when it can be used? So yeah, so that if a local authority cannot meet its housing need, it must consider all opportunities. So the brownfield and stuff like that will be used. Now, brownfield with higher density is really smart because brownfield is non-residential land, so non-housing land. That's what it's meant to be used for. If you use it for housing land, 60 plus years, it's only going to be for housing. If you can make it dense, you can get housing and other stuff called mixed use on it. And that's actually a really good thing to do because it means that you are serving the community for things that they actually need, rather than just kind of itty bitty here, itty bitty there, and then eventually you have to kind of build out of the community because you haven't got enough space. They mentioned biodiversity net gain. I think I'll leave that for another conversation. Being clear, the brownfield development is acceptable in principle. Yes, please. Easier to develop previously developed land? Yes. And redefining it? Yes. That means gardens might actually finally get back inside the NPPF. We used to be able to build on them because we considered the brownfield. It was called garden grabbing. We removed that. And actually it was a bit of a mistake because a lot of older people especially kind of moved to these homes built on these sites because they were within the community and bungalows because they didn't ruin the character. So actually we took out a really good opportunity to densify sensibly. So yeah, that's good. Defining the grey belt, here we go, properly defining it. Defined as land in the green belt comprising previously developed land or any other parcels or green belt. Oh, basically what I just said before. So yeah, I like that idea. I think it needs firming out with kind of streamlined planning for certain things. So literally, if you, like I said, if you're a few minutes a walk away, that site probably gets priority. But yeah, that's a good idea too. Land release through plan making. Yeah, I've got to read that proposal. I'm going to skip over that one. Yeah, they want to talk about greenbelt for commercial and other development. Look, that's really important. You don't just build houses. The problem we've always had is that land uses mean you either build houses or infrastructure. You need both. What's the point of having loads of houses if you can't get to your job? People that moan about, 15-minute cities and don't ever think about jobs, that's no help. Unfortunately, land has to be used. Traveller sites, benchmarking and land values. I'm going to go over that in a different video because, compulsory purchase orders when you buy things for either a cheaper value or closer to use value, use value rather than what you'd get as residential. We've always supported that because the allocation system and the land system is broken, and you're just taking money off the developer into their profits and making the housing, the people that buy the houses pay more. The landowner doesn't really get much taken off them. So we'll go through that in another video. Affordable, well-designed homes and spaces. You can't prescribe beauty. In fact, we have little boxes because people do prescribe beauty, because if you are building something unique, you probably won't get it through planning because it's a bit too unique, a bit beautiful maybe. So yeah, you can't prescribe beauty. That's just mad. But we'll see how that kind of works. Improving existing developer contributions. That's definitely going to be another video because currently it's a mess. Removing the 25% first home requirement. Another policy didn't work. Social rent needs to be supported. So yeah, promoting mixed tenure. Well, I can't really disagree with any of that. Our members deliver homes for all sorts. That's really useful. Delivering a diverse range of homes. It's diversification. And actually, small and medium-sized companies who trains 18-10 construction apprentices, 9% of the training capacity, employ within 20 miles of the local radius of the head offices, invest in the communities, didn't get involved in all the mad scandals, but are paying for them, unfortunately. Thanks, other builders. They are the ones that build all these social houses, housing association homes, self-build, community land trust, cooperative for charities. So yeah, we've always supported that. It's good to have competition, isn't it? Small sites. Okay, right. This was the big one for me. Oh my God. Oh wow. So there's a question here that says whether a definition distinguishing between small and medium sites would improve clarity. Yes. We spent 5 years trying to get the last government to understand that actually you need a medium size site definition. Currently you've got up to 10, which is medium, minor or small. And then 10 and above is major, which means that if you're delivering 11 homes, bureaucratically you're treated the same as one that's delivering 1001. Might not be quite the same, but you're kind of viewed in that same where you're a major site. You need a medium-sized site, and that actually helps encourage more medium-sized companies and community land trust self-builders to deliver. So we set up to 50 between 10 and 50. It'd also be a bit more strategic, because then local authorities would allocate those sites in local plans. And then the NPPF does say deliver 10% of small and medium-sized sites in your local plan, but it's not mandatory. We said it should be 30%, which would reflect kind of the market share of SME house builders. The government proposed 20, they settled on 10. It makes sense to have that as a mandatory allocation of 30, especially if you're doing the medium-sized site definition, because it's much more easy for them to hit them. So look, medium-sized site definition, it would help a ton. And they already have loads of policies in place that define medium up to 50, so I don't really understand why there isn't a plain definition already. It would just help us hugely. Local authority specific small site strategies that would help implement the 10% allocation. Yes, another one of our proposals. A smaller site register. So local authorities do a call for sites basically, and what we think they should do is do a call for sites that's always running, which means that effectively, if you can't deliver, say, large sites because they allocate loads of large sites, if you can't meet them, they have to do another call for sites. Well, if you've always got this bank of sites coming forward, then you know that they might be able to, those smaller numbers might be able to make up that 300, 400, 500, 1,000 homes, because you're picking up all those immediately deliverable sites, not the ones that take 10 years. So yeah, that smaller medium site register would be really helpful. There's loads of stuff on small sites you can do. And remember, if you've got a medium-sized site definition, you can help those builders a little bit more. I'm on question 59 here. Remove references to beauty and beautiful, and just say well-designed buildings. Yeah, can't prescribe beauty, can't prescribe beautiful. You might be able to prescribe what an area might need to be beautiful or give beauty. Well designed is still better. But yeah, mansard roofs still being supported. Love it. They're brilliant. People moan about dormer extensions, those little things that jut out. If you just had a roof that was kind of all one layer, one kind of height, but like a bit more of a bit like low of a pitch roof, so it's kind of like that, your roof, rather than like that. God, I'm not very good at it. Then at least you get more space and you don't have to have these big dormer things. They're nice, the mansard roofs, check them out. We need more of them. Building a modern economy, changes to the NPPF to support modern economies. Yeah, and there are more paragraph changes, but yeah, we need to do more of things like that. We need so the last government introduced national management development policies. We need regional management development policies and industrial management development policies. So you can have another Birmingham, you can have your green technology maybe in the southeast, high tech, and maybe you can build the stuff in a different region. So it's all a strategy across the region. And if you had regional ones, then your regional mayor or your county councils, they could do the same. Giving them that powers, it's actually something they do in South Korea. When they need to fix something, they have this mechanism to do it. So a fishing community, say for example, needs more support, they've got like a regional strategy or an industrial strategy for that particular industry. So that makes sense. They do mention gigafactories, laboratories, treating them as nationally significant infrastructure projects. Of course, I'd argue housing is also an NSIP, but yeah, absolutely. You've got to be impressed, these data centres, but look, they are important, as are many other new technology kind of jobs. So yeah, it's sensible as well. Delivering community needs, that's paragraph changes again. Back to community density. Community needs is important. Vision-led approach to transport planning, paragraph changes, but obviously we need that. Healthy communities, green energy, kind of asking questions actually about what we need to do to ensure that we can deliver green energy. If you just require all builders to put solar panels on their roofs, you're in a bind, because especially the smaller ones, sites of under 100, they might not be able to get connection to the grid for quite some time, and they may have to pay a fortune to get reinforcement works done, which obviously the energy companies profit on in perpetuity, especially if stuff's getting fed back to the grid. So you need to fix that first before you mandate stuff like solar. developers don't have an issue putting solar on roofs. They have an issue with the time it takes and the cost of actually getting that connection connected to their development. You can't sell a home with solar panels that isn't going to, without any electricity or that right electricity. If it's not connected, people aren't going to move in, are they? Oh, in 2 years, don't worry. The network operators, they'll connect you then. You live in this house before then. It's just not going to work. So that really needs to be tackled. Most people don't tell you this when they campaign it, but campaign for mandatory solar. But speak to any local authority that's kind of having their own projects on like car parks. The grid needs supporting incredibly, and once that happens, that's great. Onshore wind, yeah, back that 100%. We actually approached the government more kind of smaller site onshore wind to support small developments. We thought we'd run that as a trial, but we weren't heard. But I think there are projects doing that now, community energy and things. They're great. Why wouldn't you do it? If you can do it, let's do it. It's an efficient use of land. That's what you got to do, and it's good for energy independence. Tackling climate change. Carbon accounting, flood risk, obviously that's important. Availability of land, agricultural land for food production. They're protecting that, which is good. They're removing some of the bits about that. National landscapes, we need a change on that because at the moment farmers are going to struggle sticking things like upgrades to their farms and things if it's ruining the landscape. That's not very smart. That was added in the last NPPF, so that really needs to be removed. You can't protect landscapes for against farming. So yeah, that has to really change. It's not just farming; it's many industrial kind of things. Somebody the likes of you shouldn't get to tell someone that they can't ensure food security for the local community or the country. That's just mad. Step to the side, look around it. Improved water infrastructure provisions. That's probably going to come down to Schedule 3 and 6. It's pretty droll, but effectively connecting to the sewers and doing sustainable drainage, I'd imagine that's what that is. And grey water, whether you use that. All sensible things, but it's worth noting that all this obsession with new build ignores the fact that it's the existing homes using 160 litres of water a day per person, whereas new build 90 to 110. So, you're howling at the moon if you think you're going to solve it with new homes, it's existing homes. Not that new homes should make changes, but we need to really think about this as a whole country. Changes to local plan intervention criteria. We'll leave that. Planning application fees and cost recovery for local authorities. We'll leave that as well, I think. It's a bit of a mess at the moment. Planning fees, they're going up. They're not ring fenced to be used to invest in the planning departments, and they don't necessarily give good outcomes. So that's not very good. It's a shame the government decided to go that route, but it did. By the way, we had a 20% planning fee increase a couple of years before that. Planning got worse. Plan making, you've got to adopt your plans more quickly. Only a third have got up-to-date local plans. We've been trying 50 years to get local plans across the line. That's a tough one. Look, I respect the ambition, but you need to get tough because and maybe bring in outside private companies to do these works if local authority fails. Public sector, so there's equality duty, that's always a question at the end. So there are 106 questions, which I will be answering every one of. I look forward to that. I'm going to check one more thing. Biodiversity. There is nothing particularly on reforming biodiversity net gain. I will do that in another video, but it has to be reformed. Currently it's a habitat net gain. I'm not saying the habitat won't improve biodiversity, but we need to be targeting local biodiversity, especially via strategic planning, because you need to understand what species you're supporting and why and how, and unless you know what's there, you can't really do that, and you can do it via local authorities that kind of plan their local areas, which feed, you assess what's locally, then you assess that as part of a region, then you do it nationally. So we need biodiversity net gain reform, not just because it's good for the environment, but Otherwise, developments aren't going to get done. If you think you're going to do new towns without biodiversity net gain reform, with more on-site solutions that take that local thing into consideration, then you're wrong. Labour are just wrong on that. The cost is going to be insane, and you're never going to deliver 50% affordables on that, unless, of course, you give the land away for free. Maybe they will. They are going to reform CPO. But yeah, that's a very long but short response to many questions, and hopefully it gives a bit of a thought process as to what it is that we'll be considering. We want better places, but we want the right people to be supported, whether that be small and medium-sized builders, local people that aren't born yet, future employers, places, everybody really. And let's be honest, it's a pretty brave document, certainly braver than we've had in some time, apart from maybe this little period in 2021. But less said about that at this point, the better. So yes, I've been Rico Wojtulewicz. I'd be very surprised if you all stuck through it.